The General Assembly is now a third of the way through its 90-day session, and so far the Department of Juvenile Services remains an agency that's facing significant challenges. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has been tracking the debate and explains what lawmakers are gearing up to do to demand more information from that department.
Hearing after hearing, leadership from the Department of Juvenile Services often tell lawmakers they don't have the data readily available about the young offenders under their supervision. So we're questioning lawmakers to find out what more can they do to demand transparency from the agency. Heading into this year's legislative session, juvenile crime still at the top of the list for some members of the General Assembly. An oversight audit provided a window into the agency, revealing serious gaps in performance metrics and accountability. Secretary Vincent Schiraldi leaving more to be desired when peppered with questions.
The department places the youth with a non-DJS contracted community-based service provider. And at that point, it's like a black hole because you don't track what happens. And that struck me as irresponsible.
We are tracking it mostly, I'm not going to say 100%, but not in a way that I can press a button and say, we referred 57 kids to a youth service bureau in Baltimore County. I couldn't press a button and get that answer because of the antiquated system. We will fix some of that over the next 90 days.
My point being is that it's not giving a complete accurate picture.
There's no crime statistic that gives the complete picture. Arrests don't give it, referrals don't give it, self-reported crime doesn't give it. Everything is a snapshot.
You're checking all the bureaucratic boxes. You're all the way down the list, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. But you're not trying to figure out whether or not these services that are being provided to the youthful offenders are actually solving a problem. You merely check the box that you put the services together with the offender, period, and wash your hands of what the performance is.
It's like we're waiting for these kids to make life and death bad choices before we're actually dealing with it. And I'm no expert, but I just need your leadership.
That was in January, and unanswered questions continue.
The department's budget increases by $22.6 million.
A budget hearing detailed the lack of data readily available to lawmakers, even as DJS looks to expand programming utilizing tax dollars.
How many kids can you serve for $4.2 million?
Do we have? We can get you the number.
When it comes to ankle monitors, an area DJS has struggled to provide data to the public about in the past as well.
And so I just like to know where we are with that. It's good that they're having monitors. They committed a crime, but they're out committing more crime with the monitors.
Despite the lack of details, Governor Wes Moore proposing a $22.6 million increase to the DJS budget for a total of $369.3 million. $3 million of that set aside to open the Catoctin treatment facility. But budget analysts recommend cutting that funding, given the building is not in DJS's master plan.
It is more uncertain and worse than anticipated.
Tuesday, Senate President Bill Ferguson notes the budget crisis is growing more dire.
We're looking at everything.
As the likelihood of federal actions impacting Maryland's bottom line increases. Given these budget concerns, how willing is the Senate, at least, to give DJS more money to expand these programs, given the lack of information and data that we're seeing?
I think that we want to fund programs that work, and we're also willing to put restrictions on those dollars to ensure that both that there is transparency about how the dollars are being spent and reporting on how well the dollars are being utilized.
Senator Ferguson notes his own frustrations with DJS and the lack of data tracking for program outcomes.
We are going to have to spend to make sure that kids get the right services. We just need a better sense of which services are having the best impact.
How do you make sure that the right services are being given to these kids if the agency doesn't have the tracking in place?
We attach the dollars to conditions that reporting is done.
The unanswered questions from DJS underscore why some lawmakers...
Why is it taking them 3 years to show up in front of a House committee, right?
Like Republican Delegate Ryan Naraki, question why other juvenile justice bills aimed at starting more cases in the juvenile system should move forward at all.
There's a lot of questions. This is one of the worst run state agencies, and that's why we don't need Senate Bill 422 or any of those kinds of things moving forward right now with someone like that in charge of this agency. Ultimately, the power of the purse strings for DJS remains in the hands of lawmakers.
Governor Moore's office tells me they remain committed to seeing this through to get a residential treatment facility for young offenders. They say that police, prosecutors, judges, and community members all talk about the need for this service. But as the governor makes its pitch to lawmakers right now, it's not clear if that will become reality. In the State House, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also take some time to subscribe to our YouTube channel.